as much as possible. And so that photo before was a Rio Grande leopard frog, and it was on a beach in Belize in Central America. And this is the road driving out to it, completely trashed. And this isn't just in Belize as a problem, though. A lot of that trash on that beach was actually coming in from currents from other parts of the world. Actually, where all the currents meet, there are trash dumps out there where there's all these little bits and pieces of trash. And so I highly recommend everyone research Pacific Garbage Patch to see about how much trash is impacting our planet. It's pretty phenomenal and scary. And so we want to vote for the environment as much as possible. Something that's been instituted in California, and I'm not sure about in Minnesota, but are plastic bag bans, which are actually pretty incredible because the plastic bag, I mean, again, like if you go to Subway, they're going to wrap your sandwich for you in great wrapping, and then they're going to throw it in a plastic bag for you. And then you're going to sit down, you're going to take that plastic off, and you're going to throw it in the trash. There was no reason for that plastic. But there are so many plastic bags. Every time you go to a grocery store, plastic bag, plastic bag, plastic bag. And so in California, we actually banned that practice because it was understood that it was polluting the planet. And so that's something that can be implemented here if it's not already. And so we want to vote for reasons, or for laws that are going to be pro-environment, keep national parks open, vote for politicians that are going to be thinking in the future, not at the present moment, thinking about how our future generations will have a wonderful, beautiful place to live in, and not a trashed place to live in. So very, very important to vote for the environment. And if you're not already, I highly encourage everyone to pursue a career in environmental conservation, or even better, become a frog biologist. You'll get to do some great things, and it's an area, it's a field of study that is needed desperately. We need more amphibian biologists. We don't understand all the reasons that frogs are going extinct, and many different fields resulting around amphibian biology. And if anyone is interested in this field, feel free to contact me, either at starkey@savethefrogs.com, or go to Save the Frogs. You'll find my email somewhere, or I have cards on our table out there. Because I encourage many people as possible to get in this field, and I would be happy to answer any of your questions. And then spread the word. Like I said, we have a table out there with tons of free information about extinction crisis, threats to frogs, why they're important. There's cards on the back. I would love it if you all took one, spoke to a friend, a family member about what's going on, visit the website, all these reasons just so that you can become aware. With the more awareness, the more will actually change. You'll actually, we have to hear something 7 times to retain that information. I mean, what's the chance you're going to hear about amphibian declines in the next week? Probably pretty minimal. So read that card 7 times. But that's the point. A lot of this information we take in our brains and it completely goes away. So as much as possible, retain this information and so you can spread it around as much as possible. And then a little bit about Save the Frogs. Save the Frogs is a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to protect amphibian populations from extinction and to promote a society that respects and appreciates nature and wildlife. And the number one thing that we do is we make the amphibian extinction crisis common knowledge. Because again, if more people knew that frogs were going extinct, more people might rise up to act against it and to protect amphibians. And so some ways that we do that, we also conduct and fund scientific research. And the way that we fund scientific research is with the donations and grant money that we receive. We allocate it to individuals doing research, traveling to conferences, also doing work in other countries. In April, I was in Ghana, and one thing I was doing there was broadening their network of academic chapters. So they have 8 universities, I believe 8 universities in Ghana, and now 5 of them have a Save the Frogs chapter of their university with a group of students all working to protect amphibian populations in their area. And that's great. And so we provide funding for them as much as we can. But we also protect critical habitat. Again, back to Ghana, this is an area called the Atiwa Forest, and this area is being clear-cut, illegal logging practices, illegal gold mining, illegal bauxite mining, and it's wiping out the forest. There's a species of frog here called the Togo slippery frog. It only exists in this forest. There's 300 individuals left, and it only exists on 2 streams. That's the only place, and it's being clear-cut. So we're trying to protect and bring awareness to these issues. And we also defend amphibians' legal rights. So frogs don't really have a voice. Well, they have a beautiful singing voice, but they can't go and vote at the voting booth. They need someone to speak up for them. And so as much as possible, we try and be the voice for frogs as much as we can. And so in some ways that we do that, for example, in 2010, the California Fish and Game Commission was basically, sometimes when local agencies, they're like, okay, should we list this animal as endangered or threatened? Our scientists are saying we should. What does the public think? And this goes completely under the radar because I don't know how many of you, I mean, I definitely don't, well, actually I do quite a bit now, but many people don't follow what our local Fish and Game Agency is saying. So a lot of these petitions and a lot of these potential listings go under the radar. And so we find out about them, we make them common knowledge. And so we had over 400 letters sent to the Fish and Game Commission saying, hey, yeah, this is important, list this species. And now they're a state endangered species, so they get more protection by the state of California. And we did the same for the mountain yellow-legged frog. The mountain yellow-legged frog only lives in the Sierra Nevada of California. And this frog is threatened by climate change, invasive trout, and also chytrid fungus, and even pesticides are being found in these high mountain lakes where these frogs live. It's gone from 90% of its original historic home range. And so this frog needs as much help as possible, and we raise awareness about this frog. But not only in the United States and California we do this, but also in other parts of the world. For example, we saved the Hochstetter's frogs and the Archie's frog in New Zealand, where we had 1,200 letters sent to the New Zealand government when they were going to potentially totally destroy this frog's habitat for mining. And so we had enough international supporters that say, don't do this is a bad idea, you're going to make this frog extinct, and now that area is protected for these frogs. That's great work. So we also ban harmful pesticides. And so I talked a little bit about pesticides, but I want to highlight one called atrazine. Has anyone heard about atrazine? A few people. Okay, that's good. So I like it when people raise their hands on that, because most people haven't heard about this. Atrazine is an herbicide. It actually is used to control invasive plants, and it's used on corn, soy, dry crops, and it's sprayed about 80 million pounds of it in the United States. Now, the problem with atrazine, that's created by actually a Swedish company called Syngenta, which is ironic because it was banned in the European Union in 2004. Because what it's been doing, it has an endocrine disruptor, which actually changes male frogs into female frogs in the legal limit that's allowed in our water. So that should be alarming. The federal EPA allows a certain amount of pesticides in our water because there's so much pesticides out in the environment. And so the legal limit that's allowed, scientists found that these frogs were changing from male to female. That's pretty alarming. So we have an active petition campaign to ban this pesticide. You can get involved with this if this resonates with you on our website. We need as much help as possible with it. Also, we're working to make the pet trade frog friendly just by providing appropriate care articles and telling people frogs are kind of hard to take care of, and people should do more research to be a responsible pet owner. And we have this race to stop dissections. We've gotten over 14 schools in the United States to stop dissections just because of our campaigns, but we need more people to get involved in this project. There's so many students dissecting frogs. And most people, actually, I found, don't even want to dissect frogs. They think it's gross or So it's something that we want to stop. And we also, some local campaign victories was we got Wegmans Supermarket, which is based in the East Coast, to stop selling frog legs. So that's 76 supermarkets now that don't sell this because they're aware of what's happening. And has anyone had frog legs? It's okay if you have. Okay, that's cool. A few people have. Oh, well, you know. So I like to ask just to get kind of an idea because whenever I ask someone, they're like, oh, frog legs. But in the South, you know, it's a really big thing, and in France, it's a big thing too. But the United States eats a lot of frogs too. In Fellsmere, Florida, they have a frog leg eating contest where they boast eating 1 million frogs in one day. And they have no idea about the amphibian declines. But anyway, so that's a big issue, and we're trying to help bring awareness to it. And so one way that we also help that is that we remove invasive species where they are as much as we can and restore natural ecosystems. The bullfrog right here, we actually got this frog banned in the city of Santa Cruz, California, where it's impacting native red-legged frog habitat. And so now you cannot own, buy, or sell this frog because it's seen as a problem species. And we're actually working to make this a statewide ban within the next year. So that's good. And we do habitat restoration, and some proposed habitat restoration as the Sharp Park wetlands. This is actually a golf course in California. Golf courses are not usually very frog friendly. They use lots of pesticides, but this one is particularly not frog friendly because every single winter it floods from a nearby estuary next to the San Francisco Bay. And what happens is this floods and all these California red-legged frogs go out there, they breed, they're very happy. Well, but a golf course can't really work if it's flooded with water, so they drain it all to sea, killing hundreds of frogs in the process. And that is technically illegal because they're a threatened species in the state of California. So this poor frog is being illegally killed, and we're raising awareness to actually get this golf course to stop these actions, actually become a national park as well, or state park. And we also do habitat restoration work, actually on the ground, cleaning up areas where it'd be nice and frog habitat. This is in Santa Cruz, California, in Antonelli Pond. We're restoring native vegetation, removing invasive fish and frog species to restore for California native frogs. And we also have a Build a Frog contest where we encourage anyone to build a frog on their frog pond on their property. How many of you have ponds on your property? That's a lot, yeah. So a lot of people actually out here have, because there's so much water and it's a lot of habitat around. In areas where like California, that's not as easy to do because habitat is very sparse. But habitat destruction is the biggest threat to amphibians. So when people build frog ponds, it encourages a nice place for frogs to live. And so we've gotten people to do this all over the world, from San Francisco to Colombia, just making frog ponds, whether at their schools or at their homes, just to encourage amphibians to come in their part of the world. And we also have an art contest. So now this is something that's a little different. And you know, this contest we've started since 2009, and a very simple way to engage students and adults in a very simple act of conservation awareness. And so since 2009, we've had over 6,000 entries from over 54 countries around the world. And actually, back in my office in Berkeley, I have stacks of art from all around the world, from Malaysia to Tibet to India, all these places that people, they go to our website, they learn about amphibian declines, and they make some art about it. And so we have some really amazing art. And some of it will be very just like, you know, a frog being lifted out of a polluted pond. And so these children or adults are understanding that frogs are going extinct. And they bring awareness. They tell their friends about it. They enter the contest. So it's a great way to bring awareness to this issue. And we also have a poem contest as well, where we get beautiful, elaborate poems from over 60 countries around the world, all about frog conservation. So it's a great way to get people inspired and involved. And so that's the next part. We want to inspire people to care about nature and wildlife, because this is something that a lot of people don't understand, is that as we move into a more technological age, we have more of a disconnect from nature. And that's very dangerous, because the more disconnect that we have, the less that our children and next generations are going to care about nature and value it, make it worth protecting. And so we do a lot of work with students. And so we have a page on our website, savethefrogs.com/students, where we have a page that they can get involved, bring amphibian conservation in their classroom, actions at home. Also a page for university students as well. And so, and actually I encourage, if anyone is interested in this work, Save the Frogs, and would like to do more, I encourage you to start a chapter of Save the Frogs. The nearest chapter we have here is in Wisconsin, and these guys have done amazing work. There's over 30 people at their chapter, and they're working on amphibian conservation projects on their university and out in Wisconsin, and they're doing some great work. And they're not too far from here. I think they're over like 200 miles. I was actually hoping to visit them, but I obviously don't know how far Wisconsin is from Minnesota. But anyway, they're doing some great work. And if anyone is interested in this, please contact me after the presentation. Oh, technology. There we go. Okay, global amphibian conservation. So we do a lot of global work. So not just in the United States, but around. And so our first international branch of Save the Frogs was in Ghana. And this was founded in 2011. We had a group of dedicated individuals that came to us and they're like, we love what you're doing in the United States. We want to do the same thing here in Ghana. And so we went to Ghana and we was like, well, how can we make this work? And it was great because you had all these people that wanted to do this work. They wanted to protect amphibians. They knew there was a reason, and there was a niche for this type of work in their country. Now, and the great thing about it is that, the problem with amphibians going extinct is that it's happening so fast that not one group can handle it. There has to be many groups, many dedicated individuals that are working in their own countries around the world to make a difference. And so a group of people in the United States can't hardly begin to imagine what issues are going on in Ghana. But if you have Ghanaians working to fix this problem, they're going to be much better at it. And so we help them, we fund them, and we provide infrastructure for them to get this work happening. And they have created this movement in Ghana to save their frogs. Ghana has lost about 95% of its rainforest. They suffer from climate change issues, again, illegal mining and deforestation, many threats to amphibians, overharvesting, they're eating frogs to extinction. So it's crucial to have a group like this in Ghana. And so, again, working to protect these endangered species, like the Togo slippery frog. And I'm very happy to report that actually our team in Ghana discovered a critically endangered species called the West African giant squeaker frog. It has an adorable name. But it is this really cool frog that has an interesting call. And it was only known from 4 years ago from 12 individuals on the planet, and it was rediscovered last week. that's great news, and we could work to hopefully protect that species. So they're doing some amazing work in Ghana. But we also do work in Belize, but in Bangladesh, in Colombia, Mexico, South Korea, and now we all have these international chapters all over the world, and we're growing, soon to be Malaysia too. And in Belize, it's a little different. While we don't have necessarily an extra branch, we do eco-tours there. I've given many presentations, and Belize is a place that's near and dear to my heart. This summer I'll be conducting research there on chytridiomycosis, the frog disease, and trying to do an inventory of some species out in the Maya Mountains. But we offer an eco-tour there to take people out to experience the Belizean rainforest, kind of on a froggy level, which is a little different. So we go around, our first inaugural tour was in 2013, and we saw a lot of amazing frogs. We went to some great rainforests, saw archaeological sites, but most importantly, we saw lots of frogs. So if anyone's interested in that, please again, check us out online. And so, but our greatest achievement is Save the Frogs Day. And so Save the Frogs Day is held in the last Saturday in April, so close to Earth Day. And anyone can get involved. It's a decentralized event. And so I hope that someone will do a Save the Frogs Day at St. Cloud. And so last year we had over 30 countries participate in about 270 events around the world. And now this is an event that reaches so many people. About 14,000 people this last year heard about frogs. They learned about why frogs are going extinct, why they're important. It's just a day to bring awareness and to celebrate amphibian biodiversity on this planet. So it's a great event, and we have so many different types of events. You can do anything as long as it's frog related. And Save the Frogs Bangladesh held a rally and a march down the streets of Chittagong where 200 people in frog masks walked down the streets. Something you don't see every day in downtown Bangladesh, but incredible nonetheless. But also in Chiana, we had a Say No to Frog meat parade, where in northern Ghana, overharvesting is a very big problem, and they're, again, eating their frogs extinction. So raising awareness in this village that eats a lot of frog meat. And it was great to be for that event. And then